Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking closely at the life and work of Alan Turing.
Sounds good.
You know, our listeners, they want to go beyond like the basic facts about this guy.
Right.
They really want to understand his impact. And we've got some pretty amazing source material to help us do that.
Yeah.
We're working with this super detailed timeline of all of Turing's achievements and like the major events in his life.
It's so interesting to see, even from a young age,
Yeah.
how Turing's brilliance just challenged conventional thinking.
Oh, yeah.
He just never seemed content to, just accept things at face value.
Exactly. And I mean, how many kids do you know
Wow.
teach themselves advanced math because they think their school curriculum isn't challenging enough?
Yeah.
That's Alan Turing.
Alan Turing for you?
The timeline actually mentions that he was inspired by Einstein's work. Can you imagine that?
Wow, what an influence to have as a young student.
Yo.
What's fascinating is that this drive to understand the underlying principles of complex things, not just the surface level,
Right.
that really comes across in all of his early work.
Absolutely. And his time at Sherborne School and then Cambridge from 1926 to 1934
Yeah.
really reflects that.
Yeah.
The guy was obviously brilliant at math and science.
Oh, yeah.
But the timeline also mentions that he often clashed with like the traditional teaching methods.
Right. And this unconventional thinking led him to develop one of the most groundbreaking concepts in history, like ever.
It's true.
The Turing machine.
The Turing machine. All right. So this wasn't like a physical machine you could actually like touch.
Right.
It was an idea, a theoretical model of computation
Yeah.
that he published in 1936. Think of it like a blueprint for how computers process information.
Yeah.
Even though computers didn't really exist in the way we know them
Right.
back then.
Exactly. It's incredible.
The Turing machine demonstrated that even the most complex calculations could be broken down into a series of simple logical steps.
And amazing.
This was a radical idea at the time.
And honestly, it's a concept that underlies all modern computing today.
So how does this theoretical model from the 1930s connect to the devices we use every day?
Well, think of it this way.
Yeah.
Every time your smartphone runs an app, it's essentially using the principles of the Turing machine
Wow.
to execute a program by breaking down complex tasks into smaller, manageable steps.
That's incredible. So the timeline also mentions that Turing got his PhD from Princeton in 1938 after working with Alonzo Church. But his academic journey was about to take a backseat to something way bigger.
Right. The year is 1939.
Here we go.
World War II has just begun.
Wow.
This is where we see Turing's expertise applied in a way that truly changed the course of history.
So the guy who revolutionized computer science is also about to become like a war hero.
It's true.
What happened?
Well, the German Enigma machine
Okay.
was a huge challenge for Allied codebreakers.
Yeah.
It was used to encrypt military communications, and breaking the code was considered crucial to winning the war.
Right. I've heard of the Enigma machine, but can you explain how complex it really was?
Oh, it was incredibly complex.
Yeah.
I mean, the Enigma machine used a series of rotors and settings
Right?
to scramble messages in a really, really complex way. And every day, the Germans would change the settings,
Oh, wow.
creating billions of potential combinations. It would have taken human code breakers years
Years.
to decipher a single message.
That's insane. So how did Turing and his team at Bletchley Park approach this seemingly impossible task?
Well, Turing was instrumental in designing and developing the bomb,
The bomb.
an electromechanical device that was specifically designed to break the Enigma code.
So they basically had to build a machine to crack an uncrackable code.
Yeah.
What were the biggest challenges in doing that?
Oh, there were tons of challenges. I mean, they had to account for the Enigma machines constantly changing settings,
Right.
as well as the sheer volume of messages being intercepted every single day.
Wow.
It was a race against time, requiring ingenuity, mathematical brilliance, and engineering expertise.
Turing and his team had to innovate on every level to make it work.
So it sounds like this bomb machine was like an early computer specifically designed for code breaking.
Exactly. And you know what?
Yeah.
It proved incredibly effective.
Yeah.
By deciphering German communications, the bomb gave the Allies a crucial advantage in the war.
The timeline actually says that Turing's work is estimated to have shortened the war by several years
Wow.
and potentially saved countless lives.
That's amazing.
It's a massive impact. Did this experience working on the bomb influence his ideas about computing?
Absolutely. I mean, Turing's wartime experience demonstrated the power of computing
Yeah.
to solve real-world problems. After the war, he continued to push the boundaries, envisioning computers not just as calculators, but as tools with much broader capabilities.
Like what kinds of capabilities did he imagine?
Well, he was thinking about.
Yeah, he was thinking about.
Well, he saw computers doing things like language translation, even playing chess.
Really?
Composing music.
That's amazing. Things that we just take for granted today.
I know, it's like he could already see the future of computers.
Right, he was way ahead of his time.
The timeline mentions Turing's work on the automatic computing engine, or ACE, after the war.
Yes.
What was that all about?
The ACE was one of the very first designs for a stored program computer.
Okay.
So a computer that could actually store instructions in its memory.
Interesting.
Allowing it to perform a much wider range of tasks.
Wow.
Turing's vision for the ACE went way beyond, just simple calculations.
Yeah.
He saw the potential for computers to be used for so many things.
Like what?
Like language translation, playing chess, even composing music.
That's incredible. So he was already envisioning computers doing things that we just take for granted today.
Exactly.
It seems like his thinking was so far ahead of his time.
He was light years ahead.
So Turing recognized that computers weren't just about crunching numbers.
Right.
They could be tools for creativity, for problem solving,
Yes.
for exploring new frontiers of knowledge. His work on the ACE really laid the groundwork for the development of modern computers as we know them.
It did.
It's amazing. So we've talked about Turing's impact on wartime code breaking and the development of those early computers.
Yeah.
But his curiosity didn't stop there.
No.
The timeline mentions the surprising turn towards the end of his life.
Yeah.
A shift towards biology. How did someone who spent his career in mathematics and computing end up exploring the world of biology?
Well, it might seem like a big leap, but remember, Turing's mind was always searching for underlying patterns and connections. He became fascinated by morphogenesis.
Morphogenesis.
The study of how patterns form in nature.
Okay.
Think about the intricate designs on a butterfly's wing.
Wow.
Or the spiral of seeds in a sunflower.
That's true.
Turing wanted to understand the mathematical principles behind these complex patterns.
So instead of focusing on patterns in numbers and algorithms, he started looking for those patterns in living things.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting shift. What specifically was he trying to figure out?
Turing was really intrigued by how, simple biological processes could lead to such complex and beautiful patterns.
Right.
He wanted to know how cells, know where to go and what to become to create these intricate designs.
So he basically applied his mathematical skills to biological problems.
Exactly.
That must have been a challenging and fascinating endeavor.
It was groundbreaking.
What did he discover?
He started developing mathematical models
Okay.
to explain how patterns emerge from the interactions of chemicals and cells during development.
Really?
This work was groundbreaking and actually laid the foundation for future research.
Wow.
In fields like developmental biology and artificial life.
That's incredible. It's amazing how he could see those connections between such seemingly different fields.
I know, it's amazing.
From abstract computing to the natural world.
Yeah, and remember his work on the Turing Test.
Right.
Which we talked about earlier. Yeah. This test was about more than just fooling humans.
Right.
It was about exploring the very nature of intelligence itself.
Right. The Turing Test is where a machine tries to convince a human that it's also human through a conversation.
Right.
It's a fascinating concept
that
still gets debated today.
For sure.
Turing's later work on morphogenesis seems connected to that idea. Somehow, was he looking for the underlying patterns of intelligence?
That's a great question.
Whether in machines or in living things.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it?
It is.
Turing's mind just seemed to effortlessly bridge different fields of study.
Yeah.
It suggests this deeper fascination with the fundamental principles that govern complexity and intelligence.
Right.
Regardless of whether it's found in nature or created by humans.
But sadly, Turing's brilliance and groundbreaking work couldn't shield him from the prejudices of his time.
It's true.
The timeline mentions a really dark period in his life starting in 1952.
Yes, this is where Turing's story takes a very tragic turn. In 1952, he was arrested and convicted of gross indecency.
Wow.
Simply because he was gay, which was illegal in Britain at the time.
It's heartbreaking to think that someone who contributed so much to his country and to the world was persecuted for simply being who he was. What happened after his arrest?
He was given a terrible choice: imprisonment or chemical castration.
Oh, wow.
A hormonal treatment that was meant to suppress his libido.
That's awful.
Turing chose the latter so that he could continue his work, but the physical and emotional toll of that treatment must have been devastating.
And just 2 years later in 1954, the timeline says he was found dead from cyanide poisoning.
It's so sad.
The official ruling was suicide.
A tragic end to a brilliant life.
It really is.
Turing's persecution stands as a stark reminder of the injustices faced by LGBTQ+ individuals throughout history.
That's true.
It's a part of his story that we should never forget.
Absolutely. Thankfully, Turing's story doesn't end with this tragedy. There has been a movement in recent years to recognize his achievements and kind of atone for the way he was treated.
Absolutely. In 2009, the British government issued a formal apology for his treatment.
Wow.
Then in 2013, he was given a posthumous royal pardon.
Really?
By Queen Elizabeth II.
And of course, there's that incredible 50-pound note.
Yes.
Featuring his portrait.
I love that.
It was unveiled in 2019 and shows Turing alongside a table and mathematical formulae from his 1936 paper on the Turing Machine.
It's beautiful.
It feels like such a powerful symbol of his enduring legacy.
It really is a fitting tribute to a man who laid the very foundation for the digital age.
Absolutely. And then there's the Alan Turing Institute, established in 2015 as the UK's National Institute for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence.
Wow, that's quite a legacy.
It really is. It's a testament to his ongoing impact on the world.
For sure.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
okay,
what do you think is the most significant aspect of Turing's story for our listeners to consider?
That's a great question. What stands out the most for you?
Well, for me, it's the sheer breadth of his interests, and how he connected these seemingly totally different fields. From code breaking to computers to AI and even the patterns we see in nature.
Right.
He seemed to see the world in a way that few others could.
It's really remarkable.
I know.
Turing's ability to bridge all these different disciplines speaks to a deeper question that he grappled with throughout his life.
And what was that?
The nature of intelligence itself.
Right. We talked about the Turing test, but you mentioned earlier that he went even further than that.
Yeah.
He wasn't content with machines just imitating thought.
Right.
He was interested in machines actually thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He believed that machines could in principle, achieve a level of intelligence comparable to or even surpassing human intelligence.
That's a bold statement.
I know, but he saw the human brain as this complex machine. And he believed that we could eventually create artificial systems that could think and learn in similar ways.
That's a pretty radical concept, especially for that time.
It was.
What did he base that belief on?
Well, Turing saw no fundamental reason why the processes of the human brain couldn't be replicated.
Okay.
Or even improved upon using artificial means.
So he was basically saying that if a machine could carry on a conversation that was indistinguishable from a conversation with a human, then for all practical purposes, that machine could be considered intelligent.
Exactly.
So he wasn't necessarily concerned with whether a machine was truly conscious or self-aware, but whether it could exhibit intelligent behavior.
Exactly. Turing was focused on the functional aspects of intelligence. As what a mind can do, rather than how it subjectively feels.
Interesting.
That's where the Turing test comes in.
Yeah.
It's a way to assess a machine's ability to think without getting bogged down in all those philosophical debates about consciousness.
That's a really clever approach.
I think so.
It sidesteps some very thorny philosophical issues while still providing a practical way to evaluate artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
But even if we accept that a machine can exhibit intelligent behavior, doesn't that raise some big questions about what it means to be human?
Absolutely. If machines can think and learn like we do, how does that change our understanding of ourselves?
That's a big question.
What are the ethical implications? I mean, these are questions that we're still grappling with today as artificial intelligence continues to advance at this incredible pace.
It's exciting and a little unnerving to think about.
I agree.
I mean, we're seeing these AI systems that can compose music, write poetry, even create art.
It's amazing.
It seems like we're getting closer and closer to a future where that line between human and machine intelligence becomes increasingly blurred.
And that's why Turing's work is so relevant today.
Yeah.
He not only laid the groundwork for developing AI, but he also recognized the profound implications that it would have on society.
It's clear from his life story that he wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo.
No, he wasn't.
And explore ideas that were considered radical at the time. And that fearlessness led to some pretty incredible breakthroughs.
It did.
Turing's story is a reminder that progress often comes from those who are willing to think differently.
Yes.
To ask difficult questions and to push the boundaries of what we think is possible.
For sure.
And even though his life ended tragically,
yeah,
his legacy continues to inspire us to explore new frontiers of knowledge and to consider the ethical implications of our creations.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the life and work of Alan Turing, what's the one message we want to leave with our listeners today?
Well, I think it's this: Turing was a true visionary.
Yeah.
Who not only shaped the world we live in,
right,
but also gave us this glimpse into a future where the boundaries between human and machine intelligence may continue to blur.
Yeah.
His story encourages us to keep exploring, keep questioning, and to approach the future of technology with both curiosity and careful consideration.
His life was a testament to the power of human ingenuity.
Absolutely.
The importance of intellectual freedom.
Yes.
And the need to challenge injustice wherever we find it.
Well said.
He reminds us that even in the face of adversity, one person can make a profound difference in the world.
Couldn't agree more.
And with that, we conclude our deep dive into the life and work of Alan Turing.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope this has inspired you to learn even more about this remarkable individual and his lasting impact on the world. Until next time, keep diving deep.